Hey, welcome to Forgotten 3D.
Hello.
I'm one of your hosts, Nelson.
I'm the other host, Sam.
If you're having trouble distinguishing between our voices, then good job.
Today's episode we're sponsored by
PeterPan.com.
PeterPan.com. Visit PeterPan.com. Wait, was it PeterPan.com?
It was PeterPan.com.
Visit PeterPan.com.
No www dot, just type PeterPan.com. Go to Fitness Mountain.
Alright.
So today...
This episode, the second episode in about half of a year.
Yeah.
How long has it been? Like 3 months.
The last one we did was in April.
3 months? Yes.
Yeah.
We probably should have figured that out faster.
We're both really smart guys.
But now we're back. We're back.
We're here to talk about the film Ratatoing.
Ratatoing.
Do you like Ratatouille?
Yes, I do.
Well, you'll love Ratatoing.
Well, Nelson, why would I love this movie if I like Ratatouille? What's it got? What are the similarities?
Well, Ratatouille was in Paris, France, which is okay. That makes for a subpar movie scene. But here in Ratatoing, not Ratatouing, Ratatoing, that's not at all very painful to say.
Ratatoing.
I just want to say it's a very painful name to say.
Yeah.
But this film is set in Rio.
De Janeiro.
In Brazil?
Yeah.
It's one with the Jesus.
Yeah, Brazil.
Yeah.
It's about rats, and the rats have a restaurant. It takes out probably the worst part of Ratatouille, the conflict of Remy trying to start the restaurant, and just kind of gets to the chase. It gives you the bits, the good bits.
Petey, give me the bits.
I walked up, I said, Petey Pan Company, give me the bits of Ratatouille. And they said, they delivered. Because this movie's also 44 minutes.
It's like they cherry picked only the most voluminous tee-hee-hees and ha-ha-has from Ratatouille and sprinkled it down into this great film.
It's a compact Ratatouille with more dentures.
Yeah.
And less textures. So,
in all seriousness, let's get into the film.
Alright. Anyway, animation, plot summary.
Right off the bat, we just get this zoom in of
Rio de Janeiro.
A very beautiful, populated city.
Of bricks drawn like building, I don't know. Everything is blocky and awful, and it looks like it was made in Spore by a 12-year-old and the building creator.
It looks like someone took a 3D model, painted it one color, but didn't add texture.
Yeah.
So, there's no general idea of depth
to
any of the animation.
Not only... Oh, wait. That's about anime. We can only talk about that when we talk about animation. So let's get into the plot.
Oh.
So,
yeah.
There's a restaurant, Ratatoing.
Run by Chef Marcel Toing.
Marcel Toing, his beautiful compatriot girlfriend.
Sam, not every female character in a story has to be the love interest.
Yeah, but she kept calling him handsome, darling, I think. What was her name? Rachel?
It was... I don't remember what it was, but it was like something you wouldn't expect.
I think... Let's call her Rachel.
Greg.
and then the only waiter was
No, but
Rachel.
she was
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but then there was another waiter named. So,
And he never remembered.
yeah.
And anyway, I just like to say, off the bat, Marcel Toing sounds almost like exactly like Dean Venture.
It got to the point where it was kind of hard to watch. I mean, one of the many reasons it was hard to watch.
It was like
Anyway, then there, so we have about a 10-minute long scene, which, by the way, would be a quarter of the film, of people in the restaurant just talking about their food. Goes between like 4 tables. Comedy.
there's 2 tables.
No, it was the guy who kept changing his mind.
Oh.
The family that was all like, eat your burger.
Oh yeah.
Then
There's all old people.
the old people, and then there are the aristocrats. Wilson, tell us a little bit about this.
The aristocrats. They're all
The aristic rats.
Oh, I never knew mice had this idea of aristocracy.
Wilson. The aristocrats.
The aristocats.
We should
Yeah.
watch that.
We should, but that's not 3D, and people know about it. So it goes against our logic, the logic of the podcast.
Yeah, so what happens in the scene?
They're talking. They really want to meet Chef Toing and ask him about his secret recipes he puts into all of their dishes. Now these are very lavishly dressed mice. They're not rats, because I remember distinctly in the trailer they get referred to as mice.
But they were also referred to. I think it can just be discerned that they're abominations and they should be eradicated.
They don't look like anything that should be living.
Eradicated.
Wow.
Anyway. Yeah.
The restaurant is also lavishly decorated with beautiful works of art featuring mice, like Mice Mona Lisa, which I'm Mouse Mona Lisa, I should say.
Mouse Lisa.
Lisa Simpson. And I'm very glad that they put an afternoon's work into that set design.
The background, the bricks that make up the walls look like that Windows screensaver. But someone placed slightly opaque vomit on it that they probably got, an image that they probably got off of Google search.
I went on Google search and searched transparent vomit texture,
Yeah.
and I applied it to this preset brick texture.
Wait, that would be Google dot, if it was Brazil BR. The one on Google.br looked up vomit.
Yeah?
Strange thing, the film is set in Brazil. None of the characters, except for one, have
And
slightly Portuguese names.
isn't it the cat?
Yeah, well, hold on, Nelson.
Oh.
Spoilers.
We don't know what this cat could be.
Yeah. Could be anything.
I just read on the IMDb that there was a cat.
But yeah, and then also, there isn't an option for Portuguese.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only in Spanish.
Or English.
No, it was in Spanish or English.
It was in. You could choose either.
Yeah, I know. But I believe the English was overdubbed.
Yeah.
To Spanish, which is strange. However, I mean, just because the movie was set in Brazil, I guess it doesn't have to be made in Brazil.
Yeah, I mean, like, Ratatouille, that
It could have
wasn't
been
made
made
in
in any
France.
other horrible third world country.
Let's face it, no one animating that movie did it willingly.
Yeah. Anyway, so they're eating dinner and they're like, Chef Toing, come out here, tell us your secret ingredients. What does he say?
Says, now the secret ingredient is... Okay, now, the very special ingredient is... The ingredient of which I put into this meal... The secret ingredient I put in this meal is hard work and dedication.
You also forgot about the, 2-minute scene where he just went a lot, and 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 a lot of hard work and dedication. They're disappointed, then they want to get his artograph.
Artograph.
His ratograph. And but they don't really want it, they want the secret ingredient. He doesn't deliver though, he just writes his name. But, it is revealed, the aristocrats only, they want to get the special ingredient because, they also have a restaurant and it's going down the drain.
Which I don't really understand. How are they aristocrats if they don't really make much? They don't have much respect or power anymore.
Wilson, if you read up on Brazil, obviously you would know that the old guard aristocracy has been crumbling for many years, and a lot of this new money, much like Chef Toing, is much different. They don't really categorize themselves as aristocrats. They instead choose to live modestly and spend lavishly only in small bouts.
Yeah, but still, where's this money that they have coming from? Where's this power? At this point, they're just
it's perceived. It is perceived. The class structure is one that has been constructed, more or less. It's not one that is actually built on any substance.
Whoa. Did this movie just get a whole lot smarter?
No.
So anyway, how does Marcel, Rachel, and Greg get their ingredients? Of course they go into a room of complete blankness.
Yeah, the Matrix room with the guns.
And they pull out their mice-sized or rat-sized equipment, which I don't understand how that comes. How would you find that? Do you make that? Do rats have forgeries where they forge grappling guns?
Obviously.
And they have they get I'm at a loss for words.
The world building is fairly strong in this film. I've gotta say. Perhaps the only shortcoming being the lack of explanation. You do have to read up beforehand to kind of understand some of the deeper lore within Ratatoing.
People say, that's just like a half-assed way of, giving exposition, but really it makes for a smarter experience.
And it makes for a more enjoyable experience, and I think Ratatoing knew what it was doing.
Because the true fans will be excited when they see, specific parts of lore mentioned on screen.
Mm-hmm.
Much like, if you're like a fan of like a movie or like a comic that gets adapted into a movie and they mention something and you're like, wowzers. It just...
Is Ratatoing based on a comic?
It might have been. I don't know. I'm not Marcel Toing. But anyway.
The author of the movie and the comic.
The director, too.
Marcel Toing. Who was also a mouse.
He was. I could believe that.
No, he's dead.
So they walk out of the room somehow. They found the end to the empty void.
That led to a light the light switch fixture.
No, that's at the other end. At the end in the restaurant,
Yeah.
it's just a thing that slides.
Yeah. In the rat restaurant, it's just a sliding
Plane of
floral design, I think. They steal the food with their Fresho Vision, which is like an infrared thing, but it only detects freshness. But they only get a strawberry because Greg messed up and he turned the fan on, and Marcel was grappled to the fan. So they spin around. However, one of the aristocrats left her notebook in the restaurant.
she voyages into the restaurant to go get the notebook or the notepad.
Yeah,
Sorry.
It has all their secret notes about them wanting to steal the secret recipes.
Because if I had secret plans, I'd bring it right to people I'm trying to screw over. Anyway.
Well, remember, Marcel's a good cook, but he sure is stupid.
So she goes to go get her notepad. Then she notices something, which is the kitchen. So she walks into the kitchen, sees a opened plane of floral design, and ventures through this dark tunnel.
She happens upon the human restaurant where she sees...
The restaurant.
What?
The restaurant?
Yeah.
They refer to it as a restaurant, but it's most obviously someone's kitchen.
It's a kitchen in a restaurant.
But it's on par of a restaurant in a typical home.
Well, you've never been to Brazil, Nelson.
I guess
they have lesser meats.
Well, I guess I can't speak for Brazil, or, where the movie was designed.
You mean you can't speak Brazilian? They...
I can't speak Brazilian. Do you mean Portuguese?
I don't know. They stumble... I mean, She stumbles upon them and she's all like, oh, so this is how it is.
They steal it from a human kitchen.
Yes, and then she leaves back through the black abyss, and it does multiple Boondock Saints-esque fade to black cuts and cut back in 10 seconds later in the story. Where we've got all these, where we've got just Marcel and company talking about the failure of the heist and making many jokes and then leaving. They only have a strawberry.
The next day, I think, or next week, it doesn't really.
I don't know. Time, I think time is a completely abstract concept in this world.
So the next day, I'm just gonna say day, Marcel is like, oh boy, they don't like strawberry anymore. They're sick of it. I've been using it all week. So
I'm using one strawberry in every dish all week.
Well,
think of how giant that strawberry is. It's probably the size of an apple.
It's not. It's like the size of like a basket.
A rat basket or a human basket?
It's about like a similar ratio of basket to height.
What does that mean? To a rat's height?
Yeah, the human height.
Oh, okay. I get it, I guess.
The basket is the same size for a rat, but, It's hard to explain. It looks like it. If it were a human size, it'd be basket size.
Anyway, the aristocrats meet outside of Marcel's restaurant for whatever Ratatoing, and they're discussing what has happened, and they're like, "Oh."
I agree. They are disgusting.
Anyway, they meet outside Ratatoing, and they're all like, now it is time to... Or no, they meet inside Ratatoing, don't they? No, that's not yet. They meet outside Ratatoing, and they're like, now it's time for the next step. Nelson, he took particular pleasure in this scene, if I do remember. In the scene following the next step.
Oh, yeah, so they go to the human house, of which Marcel and friends have been breaking and entering, and they scare the humans with the
They're in a house at a restaurant.
Oh yeah, they're in a restaurant. But anyway, they walk up to the humans and tap their feet, which frightens them to the point where they're almost petrified and don't run away from the things they're frightened of.
Instead, their feet just kind of wobble back and forth and vibrate. But Nelson, what's the main part of the scene?
So, the aristocrats all get into a line and they start dancing as if they're the Rockettes.
Yeah. I honestly... Nelson.
And they start chanting.
To the Rat Cats. Then they also do that, like, crazy arm dance where you're behind someone and then you make it look like they have a lot of arms. They just dance for a while.
I guess in Brazil these are the traditional customs of,
Of rats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess life will be a lot better once I go to Brazil. So.
A lot more dancing.
Yeah.
A lot more restaurants.
That's what I don't like about Michigan. People don't dance.
Rats don't dance enough.
Humans don't dance enough.
It's kind of sad. Speaking of humans, the humans also are very long, and they're like, you only ever see the legs too.
Yeah, they've got nice legs.
They've got fantastically thin legs and very small feet too, especially compared to their leg length. For a cartoon, I gotta say that's pretty original. You usually see people with big and giant feet, but not in this. They say, these rats are ruining our business. We gotta set up a bunch of rat traps and get a cat. Yeah.
So this is basically it. So the next time Marcel and company try to break in, the freshometer, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Detects a whole bunch of...
Freshotron.
It detects a whole bunch of blips, which indicate cheese. However, they're placed on traps. Now, Marcel and friends, they're not stupid. They can distinguish like what's a trap and what's not.
Yeah.
So Marcel, they're walking around the restaurant kitchen, and they're like, "Oh my God, it's a bar of chocolate! I've never seen a bar of chocolate before," which really makes me question how they're able to identify a bar of chocolate.
Myths and legends. The bars of chocolate. Also, the bar of chocolate was like very light brown.
Yeah.
It looked like it's like a bar of chocolate and more like
cardboard.
Yeah, cardboard. Like most of this movie looks like. Anyway, so he's trying to pick this up. He's very weak.
It's like at least a minute long scene where this poor voice actor is like grunting, trying to just trying to sound like a mouse trying to lift a heavy block of chocolate. But it's like, and it sounds like Dean Venture in pain.
Which is a lot of Venture Brothers. Then the cat appears behind him.
In the sink.
Yeah, in the sink. The cat has hands, and it looks more like a
Frog?
lumbering troglodyte or a frog than a cat. It's also around the size of 2 rats stacked on top of each other. And these rats are very small.
This cat also, he like we said before, is the only one with a like Brazilian sounding name.
Yeah, Hollow.
And it runs on its hind legs.
It runs like a human. It's like Garfield, but where Garfield has giant feet and normal sized hands, it's got normal sized feet and giant hands. Giant, disgusting hands.
Well, maybe it's like, relative to a cat, those are normal hands, but Garfield, he has relative to a cat, he has short hands.
It's true.
So, who's a real freak? I mean,
this cat.
Because
cat, definitely.
No, he's a very talented cat. He can just walk on his hind legs. Something.
Like Garfield.
Well, yeah, but Garfield, he's not talented. He's just shaped unlike. It's like I don't want to get into it.
Okay. Anyway, so this cat chases him around and he can't pick up the chocolate bar with a cat chasing him, so he goes back. Yeah.
Empty-handed.
Empty-handed. So the business is starting to fail. Ratatoing is going down the toilet. The aristocrats are eating there again for whatever reason. They're giving money to their competition. And they're all like, it's working, yes! But then they're also like, this hasn't helped us. We need to get fresh ingredients, too.
Oh, there's also something I want to talk about we skipped over in the beginning.
Oh!
When the aristocrats are in the restaurant, one of them's like, there's something terribly wrong with my soup. But, they were eating soup with a fork. So I guess that's what was wrong. So that's just a minor goof I had with the film. So, continue with the where we left off.
Then they go, okay, so Marcel's like, we have to go back.
We have to go back!
Yeah, that's pretty good. Nice job.
It wasn't good.
It was pretty good. It sounded like it. So they go back, and he's got a plan. He's got a plan to get this big wheel of cheese. He distracts the cat, sacrificing himself while Greg and Rachel get this big wheel of cheese. Or they get bits of the big wheel of cheese. However...
obvious Christ symbolism.
Yes. However, who follows Nelson?
The two men who encompass half of the aristocrats, and they also want cheese from the kitchen. So they go after Marcel's friends Greg and Rachel, and they're like they have a lot of internal conflicts over what they should do. It's like, let's steal their cheese. No, let's just go up there and get cheese. Okay, but you go. No, you think I'm stupid?
Then Marcel shows up riding Paulo. They bonded.
That's not what happens.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
No? That's not what happens.
What?
What happens is, Rachel's like, there's a cat behind you.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, you think we're stupid?
And then there is a cat behind them, and Marcel's riding it.
He is?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And because they've talked.
He just picks up the rats.
Yeah, it doesn't explain what happens to them. Then they have a deal with the cat, and he gives them food, and they don't have to hurt themselves anymore.
The cat even shows up at the restaurant.
Yep. And thus, all of their problems are solved, except that there wasn't really any problems. And nothing was really resolved with that other business. They basically just lost.
Yeah.
This is truly a utilitarian, an Ayn Randian dystopia.
It's true.
This is social Darwinism to its fullest. Let's talk about the animation.
Gee, Sam. If we want to talk about the animation, we should just talk about that poop in my toilet.
Yeah. But that poop in the toilet is probably better to look at. The teeth, especially the rats, look like they have dentures that just come out of the tops and the bottoms of their mouths.
Yeah, and like how they designed the heads doesn't work for the art of dialogue. So what you get is just this weird, just grotesque, just
monstrosities.
Yeah, these terrible animations.
Yeah. They just kind of, their lower jaws just kind of flap around for a while until they're done talking. So, I mean, at least they got that right. There's mouth movement until the end of the conversation, but...
Also, when they're not talking, their mouths are still open.
They're still agape because they have no lips.
Yeah.
If they closed it, that would just be a really bad clipping problem. Anyway, then the rats have... Do they have a texture on them? It looks like just a solid color.
I think this is a solid color.
I think on the girl rats... No, it is a texture because they've got the stomach thing. They've got, like, the stomach white.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so they got white on their stomach. So, no, it's not like that.
Also, the hands, they just look flat, like the fingers, but when they move, they just look terribly bent, like some sort of, like, source mod video.
Yeah. It looks like it was made by Ratboy Genius. Do you know who Ratboy Genius is?
No.
I'll show you after this.
Does he do source mod videos?
No, it defies explanation.
Oh.
Anyway, yeah.
Lighting.
There's terrible lighting. The shading is a base. It's literally the lowest common denominator. Fails to show any depth at all. It's the worst. I don't think the characters cast shadows.
When the aristic rats emerge from the shadows, they're like shining white.
Yeah. And the shadows and the pitch darkness, they're gleaming.
More Christ symbolism, I believe.
Truly. Then you also have to deal with the walk cycles. Each character has a predetermined walk cycle. All the women have one, and not women, I guess female mice, or rats or whatever. And it's just sexy. It's really weirdly like hip swaying, booty sticking, walking.
It's the only way you can describe it. Like, the designs for from the female rats and the male rats just differ so drastically. Like, the male rats have, like, the traditional, like, Mickey Mouse teardrop body.
Yeah.
But the female rats
have, like, curvaceous. They have rat tits. They do.
They just have these, like, human forms, which makes it look oddly like a fursuit.
Yeah. Yeah. Then, all of them, some of the men, the male rats, have different walk cycles. Greg, in particular, makes him look like his hands are actually two large ham hocks taped to the end of broomsticks. He swings them around like baseball bats. It's absolutely ridiculous. Also, his fingers are splayed out like one of those sticky things that you throw. You get from the vending machine. No, yeah.
Yeah, like the sling thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really what all the hands look like.
No, there's like one thing he said in the movie. It was like, swear to God, I didn't do it.
Yeah, it was very out of place. He also, at one point, when they first get in there, he just hits a spoon off of a jar for no reason. Absolutely no reason. He just hits it off the jar.
It just looks like a transparent, like, JPEG of a spoon.
He's a rebel. He's a rattle.
Vigilante. Missing link on the brink of self-destruction.
Now we're talking. Then, so we talked about walk cycles. We talked a little bit about backgrounds already. They all look terrible. They're either lowest common denominator, wallpaper, textures, or solid color, or brick vomit.
This movie looks like it was made in extra normal.
Yeah. It also looks like it was made in, like, Gary's mod. It really looks like it was made in Gary's mod.
It looks like someone stole the textures from extra normal.
Put them into Gary's mod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just remembered
What?
all those extra normal videos. I privated all of them.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Then anyway, what else? I think that really covers animation. It's bad. Oh, there's one thing I want to talk about. Cat, under the cat's neck, it was very strange. It kept getting all weird and stuff, folding, and the shading was off on it.
Also, the cat's human-esque hands.
Yeah.
Like, when he was in the restaurant at the end, they clipped through the table.
Yeah. And then, there was one other thing I wanted to talk about. So, in animation, there's some, normal things that you do in animating. Squash and stretch. Stuff like that.
Of course.
However, in this movie, it bizarrely only features the technique of stretch. When people jump up on things, and when they go into modes of accelerated speed, they just stretch, but then they don't squash and then stretch and, whatever. They just stretch and go. It looks so bad. Like when the cat's jumping up on onto a table, he just stretches out of nowhere in like mid-air. And it's like stretching sizably. It's disgusting.
Like the designs for the set, they don't make sense. Like, I understand they're going for like rats, so lots of the furniture is made out of stuff you'd find in the garbage. But all the chairs are made out of like
chairs.
Made out of matches.
Oh, are they?
But
they're
like matches glued to like tiny slabs of wood. Also, the eyes in this movie.
Oh yeah, the eyes are like just solid color. It's like a texture of just black with a white dot.
Yeah. I don't think the white dot changes according to the value.
You're expecting too much.
Want to talk about the voice acting?
Yeah, I think we can talk about the voice acting.
We've already covered Marcel.
It's the worst. Everyone sounds like they're in an immense amount of pain when talking.
It's on par with like a migraine headache.
Yeah, and there's no volume difference. Like, there's nothing to, like, match up for depth. There's no layering to the sound design. You know what I noticed?
Huh.
There was, like, barely any sound effects. There's no background sound effects, like in the restaurant or anything.
Was there background music?
I think so.
Sam?
Huh.
The disc isn't where I left it. Does this movie exist?
What?
I'd also like to know, I bought this on disc. I own a physical copy of this monstrosity.
Why?
So
I guess it was probably the only way to see it. How did you find out about it, by the way?
Cartoon Brew, they posted this top, like, 40 mockbusters.
I was on there?
Yeah. Also some stuff we have on the docket for Forgotten 3D.
What?
Like, as we saw on the, I want to talk about the website now.
Oh, okay, yeah, let's talk about the website.
So, on the main menu for Ratatoing, there's this option that says web link. Then it says, in order to access the web link, you have to actually, like, go into the files of the disc. So we did just that. And the links took us to peterpan.com. No www. No http :
Just
peterpan.com. I'm very surprised that they were able to, get that.
get that domain.
Yeah.
I'll let you talk about what happened next when we clicked on a store.
Oh, here. How about I'll just go to peterpan.com so I can just get the specifics. Here. So when you go to peterpan.com, there's all these options that you can click on. But when you click on it, like, for example, you click on Magical Movie Land, it takes you to inspiredstudios.com, where it tries to sell you stuff, but none of it seems like it's for kids.
Yeah, it all seems inspirational or Celtic music or
fitness.
Yeah, some other mockbusters on there.
Tiny cars.
Tiny cars. Little cars.
Yeah. Also, it has a section called Pregnant.
Yeah. And also the whole website just kind of feels like a living virus.
Yeah, I feel pain just on here. Then it says, make Peter Pan your homepage, log in. I can log into Peter Pan.
Mm-hmm.
But more importantly, About Us. You click on About Us. It takes you to this Wikipedia article about the character Peter Pan.
It's just, it defies explanation.
It
defies reason, logic.
It's
the laws of physics. It defies everything.
It's terrible.
It's the worst. And that was really our final experience with this film. It was just that. I mean, this film has permeated all levels of my psyche.
Oh my god.
What?
I clicked on Clubhouse, I think, and it took me to the Disney Junior website.
Oh my god. So basically this entire thing is a sham. Just like,
I clicked on games and it took me to nickelodeon.com/games.
This website. Click on login.
No. Oh, God. Log in. Error 404. Page not found. Oh, my God.
How fitting.
Oh, no.
So, yeah.
Parents and learning. Oh, it just takes you back to Inspired Studios.
So, I think that'll be, I think really that's it for our sort of synopsis. Let's talk about, our final verdict, I guess. Or wait, do we talk about the Buffer film? Or
We don't talk about the Buffer. We don't talk about the Buffer.
We should talk about it. We should include a little segment about Buffer film.
Oh, so for the Buffer film, we just kind of watched,
The Ratatouille shorts.
Yeah.
Short for a short.
Short for a short. Well, this is feature length. Ratatouing is just barely feature length.
Where did you get that feature length was 40 minutes?
I think Wikipedia.
It doesn't deserve that status.
Yeah. That's true.
And then, it's, yeah. So, our Buffer film, good stuff. So Nelson, what's your final, what are the verdicts? Never forget.
Never forget or never again.
Alright, what's your final?
Never again.
I'm gonna say never again, but I don't think I'll ever forget it anyway.
I don't think I'll ever forget it because I own it.
Yeah.
And I can't sell it to anyone unless they have bizarre tastes like me.
Yeah. Probably, maybe you could sell it to a Brazilian person.
Maybe someone who hasn't seen Ratatouille.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's who it's meant for. Anyway, yeah, so
how would you compare it to, last film?
the last film,
Wizard of Oz. I'd say it's worse.
it's significantly worse. Wizard of Oz,
Like, that was...
it was bad, but it had detailed textures.
it had Tank. Or no, it was,
Tug.
But then he changed... Better start calling me Tank now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it had some form of essence, some soul, wasn't just a sham.
It was backed by a studio that's not just meant to sell merchandise.
Yeah.
Well, maybe. Well, I don't think that movie sold any merchandise.
Yeah, but I mean, it was something. This is nothing, or at least if it's close to nothing. It's comparable to nothing. Yeah. So I think that'll be it. Join us next time when our next thing. Didn't we say that last time it was gonna be Barnyard?
We did say it was gonna be Barnyard, but we watched Barnyard and it was too bad to review.
It wasn't.
Or too bad to do a podcast.
It wasn't necessarily too.
Not like bad, but it wasn't fit.
Yeah, it was so impeccably mediocre that it just didn't have any substance, which is a sin upon on itself, or within in itself, whatever. We would just be talking about that the entire time, so we decided not to. So what will our next episode be, Nelson?
How about Animen?
Animen?
Animen.
Then it's Animen. Alright, so that's been the Forgotten 3D podcast, episode 3. Hopefully our next episode won't take us 3 months to make. Okay, bye!
Watch Beast Buds.
Watch Beast Buds too. Or if you're listening to this on Beast Buds, watch this.